A South African national is firing federal employees by the hundreds, and the President of the United States is enjoying every single minute of it. This and more as we jump into the pit. Hello everybody, welcome to the Social Pit Podcast. I am the Ski. To date, 5 weeks into his administration, Donald Trump has signed 70 executive orders. Many of these executive orders are frivolous, disgusting, absurd, obnoxious, and quite honestly, unconstitutional. Now to begin, I went over some of the aspects of his executive orders last week, especially the one where he's trying to outlaw the use of paper straws. This week, I'd like to go into the fact of Executive Order 14210, implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency Workforce Optimization Initiative. Now, this initiative gives Elon Musk carte blanche over to fire federal employees as he sees fit. Now, this past week, Elon Musk sent a memorandum to all federal employees stating that they need to, in writing, define their jobs, basically telling him what they do. If they refuse to give any description of their job, they are hereby terminated from the federal government. Now, DOGE is trying to do everything they can to try to say that they are finding ways to cut government spending within the federal government. And many of these programs that he's attacking is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, retirement benefits for federal employees, and also disability for the VA. Now, as someone who is a disabled veteran of the United States Armed Forces, I too am now starting to feel the impact of that. Last week, I had an appointment at the VA hospital where I went to go see a specialist. In most situations, I am checked into the VA at my appointment time within less than 5 minutes. This time around, it took nearly 10 minutes in order to get checked in. There were also quite a lot more people that were there for doctor's appointments than normal. 2 weeks ago, through the VA, there was a lot of people that were terminated from their positions there. Many of them were volunteer employees, meaning they were not getting paid. But because of the DOGE initiative, they were terminated from their positions, even though they were not wasting any of the taxpayers' dollars. They were volunteers. To supplement, there was a lot of third-party nonprofit organizations that were at the hospital that were trying to help out as well. Many of them had set up tables along the corridor of the main hospital to help advise many VA veterans about health risks and health concerns. This is sometimes always happens during certain particular weeks of the year. Now, the VA hospital in Omaha, Nebraska is the VA hospital that I go to. And this VA hospital has been progressively improved quite heavily over the past 20 years. Funding from much of the federal government has built a new structure onto the building, to the hospital, new wings, new departments, especially women's health. Over the course of the past several months, I've been talking with many female veterans across the United States, and many of them have been stating that their women's health has to be outsourced through the VA to their local area hospitals or clinics. Their VA hospitals do not have departments set up for women's reproductive health or women's health issues, women's screenings for cancer and stuff. But luckily, with many Nebraska representatives, they have been able to help improve the eastern Nebraska, western Iowa health system for the VA. And lately, the Department for the Women's Health Clinic has been reaching its max. Many female veterans from across western Iowa and eastern Nebraska have been going to the VA hospital for their routine checkups, and this has helped a lot of our female veterans greatly. One of those impacted by the firing of Trump's Doge team was the John F. Kennedy Library and Museum in Boston, Massachusetts. The employees there that were fired were routine, everyday employees who helped keep the museum up and running and established a lot of tours throughout the museum. Many of these employees made less than $60,000 a year and were not paid for by federal tax dollars. Many of these employees were paid through grants, donations, and also admission of the library itself. The employees fired from the JFK library were mostly greeters at the library, people that worked the gift shop, and the ones that sold the tickets for admission into the. With no ticket sales employees there, the museum had to close down because nobody knew how to run the registers in order to sell the tickets. After a 2-day shutdown, the museum decided to reopen, thus allowing free admission into the museum and the library for tourists to see. This also left a bad taste in many people's mouths because this was a Democrat president, and President Donald J. Trump is a MAGA Republican. Many people are starting to feel that Donald Trump is playing very strict partisan politics across the country in so many federal jobs, maintaining the fact that anyone that works for him has to be a Trump loyalist to kiss the ring. Now keep in mind that Donald Trump also had allowed Elon Musk to fire the federal nuclear program employees. And when they found out that what these employees did and what they know put our nation at a great nuclear risk against many enemies, especially North Korea and Russia. But many people still think that Donald Trump has great ties with North Korea and Russia. Let us not forget that Donald Trump boasted about the love letters that he had with Kim Jong-un and the relationship he maintains with Vladimir Putin. Now, another initiative that Donald Trump had signed into law was Executive Order 14186, the Iron Dome of America. Donald Trump's ideology of science fiction has taken great shape in his administrations. In the first administration, he developed Space Force, an entire military unit dedicated to space travel, just like Star Trek. Now, in this one, Donald Trump wants to establish the Iron Dome, and he has set engineers a 60-day deadline to come up with a structure to place over the United States, one that is going to deter missiles from space. Now, in 1980's President Reagan administration, he developed the Star Wars program. This was a nuclear deterrent program against the Soviet Union, and at the time, Mikhail Gorbachev's encroachment on our American values. President Reagan had established satellite communications throughout our nation, which at the time was a feasible project. Donald Trump's Iron Dome is far from feasible and very disturbing as to the cognitive nature of Donald Trump's ideas and decision-making process. Let us not forget that Donald Trump has also made claims that windmills do cause cancer, and the man is also trying to rename a body of water the Gulf of America in order to bypass an executive order from President Biden to not permit drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, one of the key reasons as to why President Biden had signed that executive order was to prevent the contamination of our natural body resources, such as the Gulf of Mexico. With the Trump administration, deregulation is the key issue that they like to pursue. They want to deregulate safety, they want to deregulate standards, they want to deregulate emissions, they want to deregulate the drilling, the oil, all that stuff. Donald Trump does not care about the safety of human life or the sanctity of the future of our world. Now, I'm not going to go Greta Thunberg here, but there are some things that we need to look at in regards to public safety, environmental safety, and also the future of our world, which shows a lot of redundancy within the Republican Party right now, specifically the MAGA, as they embrace Elon Musk, a man who owns a company that builds electronic cars that does not use oil and gasoline. Tesla sales and Cybertruck sales have skyrocketed with MAGA supporters over the recent months since the election. And at the same time, many Democrats and liberals have sold or gotten rid of their Tesla cars and Tesla Cybertrucks because of Elon Musk. Many liberals and Democrats have left Twitter, fuck you Elon, because of what he has done there. For many people to propagate misinformation through tweets, through fake news reports, through false memes, comedy sketches, the works. Elon Musk is doing single-handedly to our federal government what Adolf Hitler did to the Jews in the 1930s and 40s. And let us not forget that Donald Trump, being a German descendant, and Elon Musk and his Roman salute, it propagates the idea that, yes, that is exactly what they are trying to do to our country. Make it a white nationalist society. And many black MAGAs are now starting to see that and are trying to do all they can to assimilate to the white ideology of race. Now, going back to the firings of many people within the federal government, this past week, Donald Trump fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General Charles C.Q. Brown Jr. And before that, he had fired Admiral Lisa Franchetti. The termination of General Brown from the Joint Chiefs of Staff was a very unprecedented move by Donald Trump. General Brown was appointed to the position in October of 2023 and was to hold on to that position for 4 years going into 2027. But Donald Trump, finding that he is not a Trump loyalist and would not be an adequate advisor under Donald Trump's administration, decided to terminate him from his position, as well as Admiral Lisa Franchetti. Now, Donald Trump is choosing retired Lieutenant General Dan Kane to replace General Brown as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Lieutenant General Kane retired after 34 years in the United States Air Force as an F-16 pilot, after which he went to become an advisor for the CIA. Now, this is a highly unprecedented move, as the Joint Chiefs of Staff is normally staffed by a 4-star general, going back to a 3-star general with not that many years of experience compared to most 4-star generals is highly unprecedented and irregular. But the key issue here is that Lieutenant General Dan Kane is possibly a Trump loyalist who's willing to do Donald Trump's bidding as he sees fit. Now the question remains, why did Donald Trump choose to fire General Brown and Admiral Franchetti? Quite simple, DEI. General Brown is black, Admiral Franchetti is a female. Donald Trump felt that both these two individuals got to their positions through DEI policy, diversity, equality, and inclusion. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is very far from the truth. Both General Brown and Admiral Franchetti both earned their positions within the federal government and in the military. General Brown served in Operation Southern Watch, Operation Northern Watch, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Odyssey Dawn, Operation Unified Protector, Operation Inherent Resolve. He has been awarded the Distinguished Service Medal on 3 occasions, the Air Force Distinguished Service Medal, and the Defense Superior Service Medal of Legion of Merit 4 times. General Brown has also attended Texas Tech University and Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, where he has a degree from both institutions. And General Brown is the second black person to serve as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Admiral Franchetti served for 40 years in the United States Navy, where she is the first female to serve on the Joint Chiefs of Staff and also the second female as the Vice Chief of Naval Operations in the history of the Navy. Now, as a proud veteran of the United States military, I am glad to say that I served my country with pride. I served almost 9 years in the Air Force before I was medically discharged. Now, when we enter into the United States military, we swear an oath to the Constitution and to the people of the United States that we will obey the orders of the officers appointed over us and the lawful orders of the President of the United States. If any order is given to us that contradicts the Constitution or does harm to the American people, we have a right to disregard that order. And the fact that Donald Trump thinks that he can get a lot of loyalists under his military to do his bidding is absurd and appalling, and thus will be dealt with in accordance with the Constitution. Now, as I say this, another story that came across is Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon, who is a retired brigadier general from the United States Air Force, made news last week as he was one that contradicted many of Donald Trump's administration point by point. And Elon Musk is publicly pledging to spend $100 million or more to primary any GOP member of Congress who objects to the aspects of Donald Trump's agenda. Now, the story I read from 2paragraphs.com indicates that Congressman Don Bacon is a Trump loyalist. That is far from the truth. That is far from the truth. As a Nebraska citizen, I have met Congressman Bacon, and I will say that through people that I know who know Congressman Bacon personally, he is not a Trump supporter. He actually detests Donald Trump because Congressman Bacon is more of a Reagan conservative as opposed to a Trump Republican. Congressman Bacon holds true to the values of the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. He is a God-fearing man, does believe in the Second Amendment of the Constitution, and so on down the line. Now, I do not agree with a lot of what Congressman Bacon's politics are, but I do have great respect for the man. Once again, I have met the man. He is not my congressman, but I have met him and have engaged in conversations with him and found him to be a very respectable person. Let us also remember that 2 years ago, while the House of Representatives was in great turmoil trying to find a Speaker of the House, Congressman Bacon called Marjorie Taylor Greene and her Taliban Six exactly what they are: domestic terrorists. Now, Congressman Bacon will do what he can for his constituents and for the Republican Party, but he will not do what Donald Trump wants done for this nation as he sees fit. Now, one of the things that Congressman Bacon had stated about Doge was he made the old analogy, measure twice before cutting, going back to the fact that you measure twice, cut once. And also the fact that Donald Trump had made claim that Ukraine started the war with Russia and that Vladimir Zelensky is a dictator. Congressman Bacon contradicted that, indicating that no, Russia invaded Ukraine and that Vladimir Putin is the dictator and that Vladimir Putin has in fact had executed his political oppositions, leading into Russia's presidential elections. Some of the other things that Congressman Bacon had pointed out is that the European unions have contributed more to Ukraine. Zelensky's polls are over 50%. Ukraine wants to be part of the West. Putin hates the West. Now, in this instance, I look at the fact that Congressman Bacon could be the swinging points for a third Trump impeachment. I'm sure that Congressman Bacon can garner some Republican support to join the Democrats in potentially impeaching Donald Trump for a third time. Unfortunately, with this situation, MAGA holds the Senate and will not be able to get that 2/3 Senate vote needed to remove Donald Trump from office. Which is why I hope in 2 years that in 2026, our election does swing to the blue side and that Democrats can take over the House, Democrats can overtake the Senate, and be able to garner the support that they can get for the 2/3 majority vote to remove Donald Trump from office. Thank you for joining me today, and hope you have a wonderful week. Be sure to check out my Linktree and all my other social media sites for more information as they become available. Have a nice day.